Hello friends, I am Dr. Simranjit Kaur Bagga, Assistant Professor in Management Education and Research Institute. Welcome to this e-learning module on Unit 1, Introduction to HR Analytic. In this unit, let's focus on the topic how the evolution of HR Analytic have been developed. So, fasten your seatbelts as we embark on this insightful journey. First, we discuss the meaning of evolution of human resource analytics. The advancement in the use of data to determine the workforce of a company are referred to as the evolution of HR analytics. The growing recognition of the impact of HR analytics has significantly contributed to its expansion in organization. The automation of HRM alongside the development of HR information system, that is human resource information system, and electronic human resource management laid down the groundwork for decision oriented human resource system, which now evolved into human resource analytics. Three phases of evolution of HR analytics. Phase 1, operational or traditional HRM in the early 1900s. Phase 2, strategic HRM in the 1990s and 2000. Phase 3, emergence of HR analytic 2010 onwards. Now, the figure illustrates how human resource analytic has developed in three phases. Let's explain the phase operational and traditional HRM. Early 1900s. Traditional HRM is regarded as a reactive approach to managing human resources, while it included essential HR functions such as recruitment, selection, employee training, payroll, administration, and performance management, and compensation benefit. It lacked a strategic focus. Traditional HR manager primarily followed the directives of top management and the strategic decision-making team. They received instructions from senior leadership and implemented them with minimal personal input. Traditional HRM now can be broken down into several key phases. That is welfare officer phase, labor manager phase, industrial relation phase, personal phase, and last we have the human resource management phase, followed by the HRIS phase. These all phases, let's discuss each phase one by one. That is the first phase, welfare officer phase, in the year 1890s and 1913, a role that emerged during the second industrial revolution, focusing on the well-being of workers. Followed by the next phase, that is the labor manager, started in 1935, act as a intermediary between the management and the workforce, ensuring effective communication and cooperation. Third, industrial relation phase, started in the year 1935 and end at 1945. Here, various labor laws are introduced to improve welfare, including the appointment of welfare officers in factories. As a result, HR became a more prominent function, but its focus now shifted. HR primary role was now managing union relation and industrial dispute, with personal activity viewed more as administrative and maintenance tasks. Now, the figure representing the evolution of HRM in three phases, that is the operational or traditional HRM. Now, we come to the next phase, that is the personal management phase, or we can say it as World Wars era, started at the 1945 year and ends at 1979. It evolved to include administrative tasks, recruitment, and ensuring legal compliance. From the early 1945 to 1979, the focus was primarily on personnel management. During this period, rapid industrialization, particularly in the manufacturing sector, led to the engineer to shift their attention from completing tasks to improve productivity and the efficiency. The main goal of scientific management was to determine the most efficient and the effective method for performing tasks, which would ultimately boost our productivity. The focus is on the employee productivity. As a result, number of tasks have been completed by a worker in a day and became the basis for compensation, leading to the introduction of piece rate pay system. But this method of management proved highly motivating for workers, resulting in increased overall productivity for the organization. The development of personal system in the India can be tracked back to the early 1980s. Now we come to the next phase, that is the human resource management phase, that started in the year 1980s and end at 90s. A sportive function that is proactive in addressing employee needs, fostering engagement, especially in the context of globalization. In today's highly competitive corporate environment, it is increasingly essential for human resource management to be carried out effectively to ensure organizational success. Following World War II, from 1945 to the 1970s, the booming economy led to the establishment of numerous employment and labor laws that aims at establishing a stable and peaceful business environment. During this time, HR functions became more stable with personnel management, focusing on the tasks such as record keeping, recruitment, training, benefits, and administration. Now we come to the next phase, that is the industrial relation, shifting toward ensuring legal compliance and coordinating with the government agencies for the smooth operation. Both the personnel management and the IR practices begin to show their impact in the organization. Now, their performance paving the way for further advancement in the human resource management, a significant approach toward the development to the HRIS phase. That was the rationalization of international labor market, that is ILM, emphasizing the internal leadership, development and job security. HR function also introduced structured promotion system and compensation, which lead to increase in employees starting at the entry level positions. Human Resource Information System, that is the last phase of the operational HRM. HRIS was initially designed to handle the basic bookkeeping of HR records. However, with the introduction of Relational Database Management System, basically known as RDBMS, and advancement in the Database Management System, that is DBMS, and programming in the mid-1980s, Human Resource Information System, that is HRIS, now begin to evolve into tools for managing HR workflows and decision making. This shift make a transition from a manual transactional based record keeping to the semi-automation of HR processes. A notable example of this is on the onboarding process, which could now be personalized and automatically triggered based on data gathered during recruitment, a capability that was unimaginable 2 decades ago. Now, the table describes the summary of the growth of automation and the analytics in HR. We further looks insight into the phase second, that is the strategic HRM, started in the phase of 1990s to 2000. Over the past century, human resource management has undergone a significant transformation, evolving from an operational function to a more strategic discipline. This shift is exemplified by increasing use of prominence of the term strategic human resource management, known as SHRM. In the early 1990s, the Wright and McMahon in the year 1992 started as a discipline of HRM that focused on the planning and deployment of human resources, people and HRM functions to enhance organizational effectiveness. Further, SHRM encompasses all HR activities and functions that contribute to business value and improve organizational efficiency. Further, in this stage, the field of human resource management witnessed the emergence of highly strategic human resource management, with the first as in SHRM. the focus of analysis shifted from the impact of HR practices on the individual to their effect on the organization as a whole. In the second phase, the emphasis is moved from examining individual HR practices to evaluate the system of HR practices. Finally, recognizing the growing significance of HR as a strategic management tool, SHRM, began to discuss in aligned with the firm overall strategy. Now, the Miles and Snow categorize organization into three broad types. That is, first, defender. These organizations are capital intensive with a narrow market scope. Their top management focuses on increasing the efficiency of existing system rather than seeking extensive growth or innovation. Now, the second is the prospector, known for their innovation and diversification. Prospector invest heavily in research and deployment to secure a first mover advantage. While these organizations are not highly efficient, their emphasis is on exploration and innovation and expansion into new market. Now the third that's come out to be analyzer. These organizations strike a balance between stability and innovation. They operate like defender in stable market areas to maintain efficiency while adopting the approach of the prospector in more dynamic and innovative sector. This dual strategy allows analyzer to maintain a stable and product mix while optimizing the system efficiency. Now, we further classification help define how HR strategies align with the organization goal and market dynamic, emphasizing the need for HR practices to be adaptable to different business environment. The HR department has undergone significant evolution, shifting from a traditional support role to a more strategic data-driven function. Now, it comes with the followed by the emergence of the third phase, that is HR analytic, started from the 2010 and now till onwards. Traditional HRIS workflows rely on fixed business rules, while HR analytics utilizes statistical modeling technique, machine learning technique, data visualization to analyze various HR data. However, HR analytics can enhance a human resource information system by expanding the depth and precision of data analysis, improving HR decision making. Now, we have the figure that illustrates the early 1900s as industrial economy, then 1950s to 1960s as financial economy, followed by 1970s to 1980s as consumer and web economy, and the last followed by today era, that is 2010 onward, human resource analytics. For this, hard-coded rules in an HRIS such as attendance, sale performance, certification or other similar etc. can be result in the limited accuracy. But in contrast, soft-coded rules through HR analytics can significantly improve decision making. Regarding employee potential, we have the several techniques like unsupervised employee clustering, principal component analysis, that is also known as PCA on related factors, organizational network analysis, that is known as ONA, or natural language processing, that is known as NLP, applied to social media data that can provide more insightful and accurate assessments. The evolution of HR analytics has highlighted its growing role in achieving corporate goals, improving employee satisfaction, ensuring data privacy. With this, the increasing use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, companies can analyze large data sets more efficiently, uncovering patterns that may be missed by human analysis. This allows for better decision making and deeper insights into workforce dynamics, known as human resource analytics. Additionally, a stronger focus on data security has led organizations to implement safer software practices and privacy policies. Modern HR analytics also emphasize enhancing employee experience by addressing their preferences and feedback, fostering engagement. and promoting growth. As a result, technology advances. And now, HR analytics will continue to drive organizational performance. Better decision making involves utilizing statistical modeling and analysis of employee-related data to enhance business performance. This transformation empowers HRM professionals to make informed data-driven decisions, aim at attracting top talent and retaining a high-performing workforce. Professor Jack Fitz-N outlined 5 essential steps for implementing HR analytics. First is the recording, second is relating, third comparing, fourth understanding, and 5 is predicting. Now focus on step-wise. First, we have this step 1, that is the recording of the work. This step involves tracking key HR practices such as hiring, compensation, training, support, and retention. It is the foundation of HR metrics, where we assess the efficiency of organizational processes and identify opportunities for improvement. By refining these processes, organization can save time and money, enhance production capacity, or improve customer service through better procedure. Now we have the step 2, that is relating to organizational goal known as QUIPs: quality, innovation, productivity, and service. Basically, this framework encompasses the primary objective of most of the organization having the goal set by their senior leadership, guided the review of organizational performance. It is the essential to align every employee outcomes with these goals so that they can be aligned with the business research outcomes and demonstrate how each employee work contribute to achieve the organizational overall objective. Step 3, we can compare the results to other organizations known as benchmarking. These steps involve comparing an organization performance against similar organization. For example, comparing the turnover rate for the branch store in a retail chain or sale performance within the other same industry. The accuracy of benchmarking improves with the availability of detailed data from comparable organizations, as there can be significant differences within the same industry or company. Now we can come out to the step 4, that is understanding past behavior and outcome, known as descriptive analytics. Here, data analysis begins and we start to identify relationship among the data. While we observe trends from the past behavior, it is important to note that this analysis does not predict future outcome. Given the volatile and ever-changing marketplace, making future prediction based on past trends can be risky. Now we come out to the step 5, that is predicting future likelihoods, known as prescriptive analytics. In this step, we use the past data to predict future outcome, known as predictive analytics. We begin to interpret the pattern identified in the descriptive analytics. For instance, banks assess credit worthiness so that insurance team can companies predict whoever accident rates can occur. In HR, analytics can be applied to decisions such as forecasting the return on investment for hiring, training employee, and human capital planning. He proposed that the process begins with the recording data, followed by relating it to organization goal, comparing outcome with those of the other industries. Next, we have to analyze the past business and predicting the future outcome. Ultimately, predict the likelihood of future HR related event. This model was the first comprehensive approach to HR analytics for HR professionals. Now, HR analytics measurement cycles, or we can say that the stages and implementation in HR analytic process. It involves 5 steps. First, as the identification of HR concern. Second, as the robust research design. Third, we have the data management phase, and followed by the statistical skill with the HR expertise, and last with the HR analytics. Now, we can also look at the figure that represent the HR analytic management cycle with different stages and implementation. Now, here we can say that each stage of the HR analytic cycle must address a series of key questions that can guide the HR analytic function towards successful projects and solutions. The first step is the identification of HR concern, which should involve assessing how the issue affects the business strategy or competitive advantage. To this, the HR analytic team, in collaboration with HR professionals, needs to define the relevant HR metrics tied to this specific issue and evaluate how these metrics impact HR strategy or overall organization business performance. Followed by the next robust research design that can how be established. While the organization may leverage big data and artificial intelligence powered analytic tool, the research design should not be overly complicated. A simple solid HR model must be built around the HR issue, grounded in traditional research methodologies. This stage basically involves determining whether the dependent and the independent variables are based on in-house HR metrics or require sourcing data from external databases. The team may also decide whether to engage an HR analytic consultant to apply specialized tools such as sentiment analysis, psychometric profiling to gather and analyze the data. During the research design phase, the team must also decide on the appropriate statistical technique to use, such as t-tests, linear tests, regression, data visualization, structural evaluation model, Python, social network analysis, depending upon the complexity of the issue. In the followed, we have the third stage, that is the data management phase. Here, the new skills are noted, particularly in managing IT system and infrastructure. The technical team ensures that data can be interrogated and integrated across databases to enhance its usability for HR analysts. Decision must be made about the tools to be open use, such as open software like SQL, structured query language, and Python, or more integrative platform like Alteryx, or very easy user-friendly analytic tool like Tableau or Microsoft Power BI. If the issue is strategic consideration should be given to create a long-term data ecosystem or data warehouse or data lake to support ongoing organizational performance. Once the data is ready, data analysis can be proceeded. The analysis will be conducted using the most appropriate statistical software algorithm ranging from basic to Excel to more advanced packages like we have the SPSS, R, Python, depending upon the complexity of the issue and whether this coding is involved or not. Now the HR analytics cycle near its conclusion, the team will combine the statistical tool with the HR expertise accumulated by the HR professionals. Here the key insights such as statistical significance and relative impact should be highlighted, should be accompanied by a complexing narrative story that illustrates the data visualization and the explanatory power of the finding. This storytelling aspect is crucial for gaining business stakeholder support and ensuring that the HR analytic team insights are understood, acted upon. For instance, the team might demonstrate the quantifiable impact of significant variables, such as showing how 7% annual pay increase could boost employee engagement by 15%, that is the double approximately. Finally, the HR analytic team, in partnership with HR, should develop an actionable plan to address the identified HR issue. This plan should propose new interventions such as new rubrics, behavior nudges, and include process for measuring the real impact of these interventions. It is essential to evaluate the effectiveness of the action taken and determine if they were the most appropriate solution to the issue at very possible situation. When conducting HR analytic, organizations typically follow a systematic process that involves several key steps. First, we have to define the objective. Objectives, we have to be clearly mention the goal of HR analytic initiative. We have to identify the specific workforce metric and key performance indicator, that is also known as KPIs, that will be analyzed to achieve these objectives. Next, we have to follow the data collection method. We have to collect HR relevant data from various sources. We have the HRIS, we have the payroll information system, we have the performance management system, we have the employee surveys, we have other sources also. But we have to ensure that the data is accurate and complete. It should be consistent. Third, we have to follow the data cleaning and the preparation process. We have to clean the process the HR data to remove HR errors and inconsistencies and missing values. We have to transform the data into a format suitable for analysis, such as structured data sets or data table. We have the exploratory data analysis, which is also known as EDA. We have to conduct exploratory data analysis to gain initial insights into the data and identify potential pattern, trends and outlier. This step involves visualizing the data using chart, graphs and various statistical summaries to understand its distribution and characteristic. Now it is followed by statistical analysis. We have already covered several times, we have several statistical technique and method to analyze the HR data, and we have to extract the meaningful insights from that. We have descriptive statistics, we have correlation analysis, we have regression analysis, we have clustering, we have predictive modeling technique, we have machine learning technique, and the interpretation and insights can be gained from the data visualization tools, that is Tableau and Power BI. And recommendation, we have to identify the key finding, trends and pattern within the data to assess their implication for HR strategies and decision making. Visualization and reporting, we have to present the data finding of the analysis in very clear and concise manner using these visualization techniques such as charts, graphs, dashboard, storytelling. Now we have to prepare the comprehensive reports and presentation to communicate the insight to the relevant stakeholder or to the business purpose. Last, we have the implementation and monitoring of these steps. We have to recommend and intervene, derive from the analysis the insights, and we have to monitor their impact over the time. We have to continuously track relevant HR metrics and KPIs, that is the key performance indicator, to evaluate the effectiveness of intervention and make adjustment as needed. By following these steps and leveraging these steps, different level of analysis organization can effectively conduct HR analytic to gain actionable insight and drive strategic decision making to optimize their workforce management practices. Now, we last come to the why HR analytic is required, why human resource analytic is required. We have the figure that explains 4 key quadrant of people or HR analytic. The first quadrant explains what get measured get managed and what get managed get executed. Well said by the Peter Drucker. The second quadrant explains clearly demonstrated the interaction of business objectives and the workforce strategies. Next, we have the third quadrant that explains the return on investment ROI as the business demands on HR metrics that are increasingly going to be an analysis just because people are so expensive. Last, we have the last quadrant that explains the performance improvement as the business or the global organization with workforce analytic and workforce planning outperform all other organizations by 30% more sales or 50% more employee engagement. Also, the organization constantly strive to identify top performers and avoid low performers as they are directly impacting the business profitability. Employees drive revenue, protect customer and maintain their productivity. However, in these terms, they have to be higher practices that are disconnected from business outcomes. Without incorporating job performance into the hiring process, it is difficult to improve hiring practices, leading to the continued recruitment of mediocre employees. This can cost millions annually for just one underperforming role. Or so you can say that the role of HR leader can now leverage analytics to employ performance, evaluate employee productivity. During the hiring process, a classification algorithm can be used to categorize applicant as high, average or low quality based on their resume, simplifying candidate selection. Analytic can also predict which employee are likely to leave the organization in the future and assess their importance to the organization. Now, further we can emphasize that HR analytic and the changing role of HR professionals. HR analytic, also known as people analytic or workforce analytic, has become increasingly in the trend in the field of human resources. This data-driven approach involves the collection, analysis and the interpretation of HR-related data to inform decision-making and drive strategic initiative. The integration of HR analytics has significantly changed the role of HR professionals in several ways. First, we have the data literacy and analytical skill. HR professionals now need to possess strong data literacy and analytical skills to effectively leverage HR analytics. They have to include the ability to collect, clean and analyze data using various tools and techniques to derive actionable insights. Next, we have the evidence-based decision-making in HR. HR professionals are shifting toward evidence-based decision-making rather than relying on intuition. By utilizing HR analytics, they can inform decision about talent acquisition performance, employee training, employee management, performance management, employee engagement, and other HR initiatives based on the empirical evidence rather than tradition. Next, they have the predictive modeling. HR professionals are leveraging predictive analytics to forecast future trends and the outcomes related to the workforce management. This includes predicting employee turnover, identifying high potential candidates, and forecasting for the future skills gaps within the organization. Last, we have the strategic planning with access to robust HR analytics. HR professionals are better equipped to contribute to strategic planning initiative within the organization. By understanding the workforce analytic trends, dynamics, they can align the HR strategies with the overall business objective and with the drive organizational performance or the success. They can identify the key metrics. Here the HR professionals are responsible for identifying various key metrics and performance indicators that align with the organization goals. We have different metrics such as training, we have recruitment, we have effectiveness for the employee productivity, employee satisfaction, but these metrics should be basically provide some insight into the data. Happy learning.